Hi there, my name is Madi and I'm a Colorado knitter. This is my YouTube channel all about knitting, making, sewing, dream making. If you are new here, thanks for checking this out. If you keep coming back, I'm super happy to be chatting and hanging out. Let's see. Let's start with where you can find me. On Instagram, I am at Colorado Knitter. And on Ravelry, I'm Colorado 5 Knitter. I will link those things below in the details and description, as well as anything I talk about. If I miss anything, please feel free to reach out, and I'm sure I'll make errors, so I will try to catch those and write those down in the description below as well. Let's see, I believe it's episode 49. It's September 30th, 2025, which is always crazy. I feel like every episode I say that. My youngest's 15th birthday is this week. So just time keeps ticking away. We've had an amazing last few weeks. I feel like it's almost been a month since I've been here. I got to spend some great time with Gabe before he went off to college again. He starts some of the California schools, they start later in September, so we got to have a good chunk of time with him late in the summer, and he would enjoy walking moose with me, which was really special. Then I had the very greatest pleasure to host Gudrun, Johnston, and Alicia Edmonston for a sewing sleepover. They were here for about 4 days maybe, and we got to enjoy walks, hikes, family time, knitting, sewing. I will direct you over to Gudrun Johnston's YouTube channel, The Shetland Trader, where we talked a bit about sewing and gathering and what we made during that time together. After that, Gudrun and I went to Maker and Stitch Retreat. Gudrun was teaching there, and it was beautiful weather up in Vail, amazing makers, amazing hikes. It was quite lovely. We even got a little bit of snow up there, so it was really, really special. Let's see what else I can share about the last few weeks. I think that's about it. We're trying to get into a routine still, even though school started for a while, but all is going smooth as of now. So again, super excited to be chatting and hanging out with you all. Sometimes it takes me a bit to get rolling and comfortable, but I'm excited to share all the things I've been up to. A few announcements first, and I knew I would be distracted finishing this. So in my own my own knit along, I have been distracted and not touching it. So I committed this next month to work on my Estel Socks, and this is a knit along I had announced a long time ago, and it's gonna go through the end of the year, so through December. And this beautiful pattern by Virginia Sattler-Reimer is knit my version, and I believe the pattern is written with Rambler yarn from the Woolly Thistle. And I will link that below, and I will link my affiliate link in case you choose to use that link. But this is gorgeous Rambler yarn, makes beautiful socks. It does have a bit of a halo, which I love when it fills in the details in color work or in the cables. So I am on the heel. I'll turn the heel soon and then work on the foot. So the knit along is knit just one of these socks. If you have a pair, awesome. There is a thread on Ravelry with a little bit of chatter. There's very few joining the knit along, so the odds of winning a prize are pretty high. We have a prize of Woolens and Nosh sock yarn that will be sent out in January, and a pattern of your choice by Virginia Sattler-Reimer. And so as it comes to the end of December, then I'll close the knit along and pull a winner. I will reach out to the winner either on, most likely on Ravelry, and if you're not on Ravelry or Instagram, you can leave a comment below if you're participating, and then we'll figure that out from there. But I've had some beautiful pictures of some finished socks already on Ravelry, and super excited to work on mine. I love the yarn, I love the pattern, I just love all the things. So then I get distracted as I'm working on all the things. But these are beautiful, and I will continue to work on these through the end of the year. And I may finish one and then work on the second one next year. All right. So I think that's all the announcements I have. I am wearing the Seafarty vest by Gudrun Johnston, and I adore it. I loved working on it. My swatch is up here. I loved swatching for it. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted this bigger portion, this bigger motif to look like, so that helped in choosing my colors. My colors are Grouse is the dark brown, Moorit, I believe, is the lighter brown, and I'll link them below. If I have them wrong, I'll still write them down below. The light colors are, I believe, Eessit and Mooskit. And it could be the Mooskit and the Moorit may be reversed. And then the blue is the Storm color, which I love this blue. I have chartreuse in here, and I have lichen. I think I got them all, 7 colors. So fun to knit. It's bottom up. I love Gudrun's the first designer that I've seen this kind of cast on, where you do alternating between a German twisted cast on and a long tail. So every other, I believe. And or if it's 1 by 1, it's every other. If it's 2 by 2, then it's 2 German twisted, 2 long tail. And it kind of gives the vibe of like a purl stitches, knit stitches, purl stitches, knit stitches. And it's stretchy, but it's not overly stretchy, so it's still stable. So this is bottom up. You cast on, ribbing, and then you start the fun color work already, which I do love that. And you just knit straight until you reach the underarm length. I did size 2, knowing that my gauge was a little bit tighter than the called for gauge. The called for gauge, I believe, is 27 stitches per 4 inches, and I was getting 29 on a US 4 needle. But I love the density. I love this still has drape. It's going to be nice and warm. I didn't add any length. I just did it as designed. And then once you get to the armholes, you start doing the cool steeked stitches where you'll cut. And I'll try to put some footage in here if I can figure out how to do the video roll, but I did record a 3 a.m. video when I decided to cut it when I couldn't sleep. I did not reinforce. I don't think you could see, but so I just have it. This is the folded, these are the steek stitches that were cut in the center, and it just, how you pick up for the ribbing, it just kind of folds over. I felt a smidge along those steek lines, like stabbing, felting, but not much. I did decide to soak it before I cut it. So there's some advice of steaming the steek stitches, or any of those ideas, but I went ahead and just soaked it and dunked it in the water and then dried it, even though it had all the steek closed here and here. But then afterwards, after I cut it and picked up the ribbing and all that, I did soak it again, and it dries. Well, in Colorado, things dry very fast, but I find any of the woolen spun yarns, they dry very quickly. All right, so highly recommend Seafarty vest. FOs. Aside from this vest, I did finish my Harlo flip from Andrea Mowry. I started this a while back on a previous episode, and I had gotten, this is what I tend to do. I did all the knitting until the decreases, and then I was like, okay, I don't really feel like thinking about that, or I couldn't decide if that was long enough, and so on and so forth. But finally did the decreases. I did do them twice because they were not lining up as they should, as it was written. I had made an error. I'm pretty sure I just dropped a stitch. But I am glad I went back, and I love it. So the flip is where you reverse, essentially you reverse where how you're doing the brioche, so that when you fold it up, it matches. So you could wear it either direction, where you could wear it with a brown mane on the outside, or in my case, the brown on the outside, or the color changing on the inside. And I used my own hand spun, which was really fun. And I think this is the first time I've used my own hand spun, and it was really, really fun. My good friend Rachel from Chapel Hill Maker just started her YouTube channel, and I will link it below. It's awesome. It was so fun to feel like I was visiting and catching up with her. But she just talked about starting to knit with her hand spun, and how sometimes we're really critical about our spinning, and we have bleps and blobs and bumps. And when you knit it up, though, it is very beautiful, and it's motivating to use hand spun to knit because it looks awesome. So if you have hand spun, knit with it. But I'm very excited about this. My main color is the Farmer's Daughter. I believe Recollect Worsted, if that's correct. It is a worsted, and it's the color of the Lazy Moose. So I thought that was very appropriate, seeing that our St. Bernard's name is Moose, and he's quite lazy. But I love it. I can't tell you the company for the hand spun fiber because I'm still getting the hang of recording that and remembering that. But super happy about this. Fits awesome, super squishy and warm. Yes. All right. The next thing I finished. So when I feel like I really want to finish some things, I usually try to grab a hat and knit it and finish it and feel like I have successfully completed something, because you'll see soon how many cast-ons I have. This is the Riggies beanie in the color Storm. So same blue as this, but just all in one. I had quite a bit left, and I love this color, as you'll see from my shirt, my wall. I have a table the same color. But the Riggies beanie is from Gudrun, Johnston, and I'm gonna put some pictures where the construction's so interesting, very fun. You knit 4 separate pieces, 2 right sides, like right hand sides, 2 left hand sides, and then you seam them together to create this with just a 3 needle bind off. So not seaming, that's tricky. You just have them on 2 separate needles, and then a 3rd needle that you're knitting them together and binding off. Loads of video support by Gudrun with tutorials and complete visuals on how to do it all, which I used for putting them together. And then you have your right and left together, and then you put those together along here. And so it can be folded less. Here's the whole length of it. And sometimes for me, I feel like a beanie loosens up quite a bit, regardless of the type of yarn I'm using, but somehow the garter stitch is really holding for me, and it's a very, very comfortable hat, and I loved the construction. So you can see a variety on Ravelry where the seaming is done with a different color, or each panel is a different color. And of course, I want one in Merry Dancer's colorway next from Jamiesons Spindrift yarn. But super excited about this. We'll wear it a lot. I will be making more of these because once you figure out the panels, they're very easy to just make without looking at the directions. If anyone out there has made the half and half wrap, by Pearl Soho. It's kind of similar with the short rows, like placing a marker and turning and making the shape, but very enjoyable. So we'll be making more of these. And this has been soaked. It's a little damp, but I soaked it last night, so it's dries pretty fast. But I love how the Jamiesons blooms into the space. And I am definitely prone to all these heathers they have. The heathered colors are my favorite. All right, so 2 FOs, and now you'll see a zillion cast-ons. What I've worked on since previous episodes, I've been working through the body of the Vair. Again, this is going to be a Jamiesons heavy channel and a Gudrun heavy channel. But I have been working on the body of the Vair. It looks super tiny, so I'm a little worried, but with soaking, and it is lace, so it is a bit stretchy. Hopefully it's okay. But this is the bottom of the Vair sweater, which is a lace bottom, and you could do it in stripe lace. There's so many. Also check out Ravelry for these amazing combos, but I'm excited to get to the color work, so I keep working through this. I have about 2 more inches at least of the body. I may have to add a bit more length to the body just because my torso is a bit longer. So I've been working on this. This is razor shell lace, and it is only a 2-row repeat, so ends up being pretty memorizable. And the color I'm using in this case is birch, which is another lovely brown. So you can see kind of, I don't know if you can see the difference between the browns. So I have 3 browns right now. And then some cast-ons I did. So when Gudrun was here, we had an Instagram live, which is on Gudrun Johnston's Instagram page. You could see the live recorded, and we cast on the, let's see, Hairst Hap Hood. Hairst is the color of this amazing yarn, which is a limited color. Hopefully it will become a staple in the Jamiesons spindrift spinning and dyeing process, but as of right now it is limited. But this gorgeous red, and it is a hap, so it is a hap hood. So I will not do it justice, but we did cast on live on Instagram, and I have never made a hap yet, which is the Shetland shawls. But when you cast these on, it essentially mimics the hap cast on, and then you're knitting a hap, but then you'll have some shaping since this is a hood. So I have the front piece done. I'm working now on the back piece, which is a little wider beyond when you decrease here. And then I'll start the hood. But this red is phenomenal. I mean, I would buy all the Hairst possible. So I'm excited to keep working on this. But starting this hap hood, I realized how fun it is to knit the hap portion in cases where I need something that I'm not looking at or not thinking about too deeply, or not needing to count, such as when I'm reading, or if I'm at the boys' soccer games, or waiting in the car, and so on and so forth. So here is my hap. Again, Gudrun Johnston pattern. But this is in Holstgarn supersoft, and I have a cone. I'll reach for it. This is my cone of indigo, which is an amazing blue. These cones, it says, I thought I saw how many, I'd have to link it below, but I feel like I saw it was at least 500 grams. And so that's a lot of yarn. And so you can see I even have a swatch back here because I have plans to use it on a sweater as well. I don't know how much I've used, so that's my problem because I've used it over a few years now. But I am doing back to the Hap. This Hap is going to, so if you purchase the Hap from Gudrun's Patterns, you get the half Hap and you get a full Hap. You get both in the one pattern. And I realize I don't have to decide until I get to half. I'm going to knit it till the largest half, which I believe is about a little bit over 200 stitches on the needle. But it has these beautiful yarn overs at the beginning, so easy to memorize, and just knit, 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 all garter. Again, kind of similar to the half and half, except I feel like this is even easier for me. I don't know if I was having a hard time reading my wraps on the half and half, or if this just seems quicker. Maybe there's less stitches, but I have loved working on this. This is super drapey and it's not been blocked. So for me, Holst blooms into the space, makes a beautiful fabric, makes it warm. To me, it's not scratchy, but I'm not sensitive at all. I adore this blue. I haven't decided, and I don't have to decide. I could even wear it and use it and then add the trimming options and the lace options. I've seen some stunning combos of keeping it all one color. I feel like it would be beautiful adding the storm in the bottom or a neutral. Who knows what I'll do. But for now, I'm really enjoying it, and I am so happy that I'll be able to wrap it around myself. Again, I'll decide at the time if I go with a half or keep going to do the square, but I think I'm gonna do the half. So this is awesome. I highly recommend if you need just a fun, easy, on-the-go project. I have been winding off little balls so they could take it in my purse, and I just spit slice it together and it sticks just fine. So I have no ends or anything like that. But I can't wait. I can imagine myself just getting to half, binding off, soaking it and wearing it, and then maybe eventually do the trimming. But I love this so much. Okay, what else have I been working on? So I have talked about this before too, which is always good news because that means maybe I'll finish. But I am knitting a golf vest for Ian, who is going to be 15. And I'm using Andrea Mowry's Checkered Vest pattern. And this vest is in Tarja. We're Tar Heel fans, and so we're looking for North Carolina vibes. Ideally, we wanted something like Argyle. Is it Argyle? I think it's Argyle, the diamonds, but the Checkered Vest gave kind of the good vibes that he liked, and it came in multiple fits. So like standard women's fit, standard men's fit. Again, everyone can wear everything, but this did give some two options for us to look at. So what I had mentioned is I thought about doing some duplicate stitch to kind of create the Argyle lines in a big diamonds with this darker view. So kind of just giving this diamond look like this. And then I had a viewer mention an option called elevated crochet, I think. That's probably not what it's called. Let me see if I can. I took a screenshot of the comment because I want to remember it and look it up. Okay, so the commenter wrote that I may want to look into surface slip stitch crochet, which sounds awesome and perfect. So I did look it up for just the images and it looks perfect. I need to look, I'm not a great crocheter at all. I'm very new at that, but I think with YouTube, it's gonna make the perfect look. The commenter mentioned, I think it might produce a cleaner look than duplicate stitch. So I'm super excited because I do want it to look tidy and pretty defined lines. So it's called Surface Slip Stitch Crochet. So what happened is I ran out of the white. So I did almost finish the entire back piece. I do need to drop down right there because it looks like I poked through the yarn at that point. But so this is almost the entire back piece. I just have to do some shaping for the top of the neck here. But we have a back. And so I did order more yarn from Knitworthy, and it's already here. It's in our mailbox. So I can finish this back piece. And then this front piece is now at the point of shaping for the front piece with the intarsia. The intarsia is super fun. It's not difficult. There are a ton of ends. But I am going to put a picture up here of this checkered vest that I saw on Ravelry that I want for myself. It's so amazing. The colors that were used, genius. But I keep asking Ian if he really does want this, and he keeps saying yes. So we'll keep pushing through. It's very quick. I would have easily finished the back already. However, I ran out of the yarn because he's a big dude. It's so soft. It'll definitely probably have to be cleaned. Let's see if I can find the... I think... Let me look if I can. Let me just look at what it's called again, because I always forget the name of this yarn. This yarn is the Fiber Company and Make Erin, and I'll link it below. I purchased that from Knitworthy. Okay, let's see what else I can tell you. Hopefully you're getting ideas, or you're getting the sleeve done, or you're knitting, or you're drinking coffee, or you're doing the dishes. But I am having a great time talking to you guys. Okay, are you ready for another cast on? I did sign up for Summer Lee's Sock Club, Cuff Club this year as well. It's hard to resist. It's such a great price for 12 patterns over the year. I didn't cast on the first release of the cuff, but I did cast on the second cuff. Again, I have no goals of keeping up, just having fun with these amazing cuffs. But look at how beautiful. This cuff is so pretty. This is the second cuff released by Summer Lee, and I adore it. It's just 3 cables, or 3 times that you cable the stitches. I did sneak some of this Rambler yarn from this sock, pulling it from the outside because that was available, and I knit the cuff of this. And then when I visited Fort Collins, I went to my sister Knits and found this beautiful ball of Retrosaria Mondim yarn. And so I've been having fun. I love the way the marl looks on this. It's stunning. I have my Knitworthy stitch marker here, which are beautiful, and I love the texture of the bead. But these are super duper fun. So this is in my Rose and the Wren bag, my mountain bag. And so this is so good. I love it so much. But I feel myself, I knit a row. And Alicia Edmiston, she knit a row in this sock too, which I love that it's in there. But I knit a row and I'm like, I just look at it. So then I use up so much time just appreciating it and looking at it. The interesting thing about this pattern that I found is Summerlee gave 2 different charts. She gave the traditional chart with a figure of, you know, loop-de-loop or slash for how a cable would be written. And then she gave another option with colors marking the chart instead of those icons, I guess. And it did work for my brain a bit better to visualize it with the colors. So that was interesting to see the 2 options given for the charts. Okay, the last things I cast on were Andrea Mowry's Jaunties. The Jaunty shawl, which gives you a zillion options on sizing and just fun and freedom to do what works for your stash or the yarn you found. It can be a small scarf, it could be a huge wrap, but I have these 2 I had in my stash. These 2 spin cycles. I can't tell you the colors, which could be okay because oftentimes they're different anyways. But I love when it has kind of the barber pulling. I think that's what it's called, when it's plied with a pretty light color so you can see 2 colors at once. And so I started the Jaunty with this first because it's fun to see the colors coming out. I'm using a US 4 needle for this. It is, I think, half fisherman's rib. So every wrong side row is just knitting all the way through. Very simple, very fun. I do have to count. So if you guys have started this and have a trick of not counting, because it's an 8-row repeat, and I feel like I need to keep track of it. On my watch, I have a row counter. So it is easy, but I wouldn't mind not counting. So I keep trying to read my knitting to see if I can figure out kind of the patterning to see if I can read it better versus actually counting each row. But so love this. I actually kind of think of my mom with this one, so it seems like a great gift knit also. And then I couldn't stop thinking that I kind of would like it to be fluffier. There was a Wandering Flock version that's super fluffy, but I am trying not to buy stuff right now. And so I remembered that I had, I'm going to take it off of my ball winder. I had this gorgeous skein from the Small Bird Workshop, and it's a hand-dyed yarn. And this is the Barn Swallow sock, and it's 70% wool and 30% mohair. So it has the fluff in there. And it's certainly seems like a little heavier fingering weight. But I had to know what it looked like. And I'm super excited because this is gonna be very warm and cozy. I do have 2 skeins of this, but I'm just gonna see how big it is because it's already bigger, I think, than this one. And so I will just keep going until I decide that halfway is done. If you guys have the Jaunty shawl by Andrea Mowry, you can see there's calculations of when to decide to do the other half. But this one is super fluffy. It'll be so warm. So that's kind of what I was hoping for. I need the warmth for sure. But I love the color is incredible. It's a great accessory color. So I'm excited to use this because I've had this in my stash for a long time, waiting for the right project. Okay, if you're not tired, I have a few sewing projects to share. The biggest one that I finished was this amazing backpack that's all wrapped in yarn right now. This is the Slabtown backpack from Klum House, Klum. They sell kits or just patterns, or even just the leather hardware if you decide that you want to use your own materials or most of your own materials. But I did this before the Maker and Stitch retreat in the mountains of Colorado because I wanted to use it to hike. And it was so comfortable. It's so light. So the only weight is probably the leather. The actual wax canvas is very light. It has this awesome zipper. Fits just its own pocket on this side with a very durable but lightweight canvas. And these zippers are phenomenal. Then this zipper is awesome because it goes into the actual bag. So you didn't have to unroll this if you don't want. This is the actual backpack, which I do love that option. And what I found is that I had, you know, coats and sweaters if I needed it. So I could stuff my jacket in here, and then this was still clipped, but it was much longer for my bulky jacket, making it fit loads of stuff. Also, not having the zipper up here, I did feed my yarn through here, and I could knit without it getting snagged in the zipper. Has water bottle holders. It was great. I am super excited. So this has been in the car with me now at soccer games. I take it everywhere. So at the soccer games, you start with like your sweatshirt or sweater. And then as the evening goes on, you tend to put all your hats, your scarves, your cowl, your jacket. So everything can be in here as I need to put it all on me. So that one has been awesome. Those patterns are beautifully written. I have been using this Klum House Alberta bag daily as well. I put this in my backpack when we go to the soccer games, but if I'm running into the store, this is what I take in. It fits this shawl. So this has been in this bag, and it's been great. So Klum House is an amazing company. Based in Oregon, a woman-owned company, and they have awesome videos. You can purchase the kit, and then you have option to purchase the class at a discount, and it's all YouTube class. They do have in-person workshops as well, so I'll direct you to that website. Fantastic instructions. I mean, you go step by step, but oftentimes bags are straight lines, which makes it very fun and rewarding to sew. They also have a crazy good video on YouTube about all the tools. So many of the tools were new to me. So you have a peening tool to put these rivets on. So these rivets don't have a back, but the peening tool spreads it out into the star as you hammer it. You have to hammer pretty darn hard too to get that flattened. And then you have some other tools to place these snaps. So all those things were very new to me, and it was really fun. It was like a puzzle that you get to put together. What is on the sewing table right now? Right now is something that's been taking a while, but I'm pretty excited about it. So right now the collar is just basted on because I wanted to see how I liked it. But let's see if I can hold this up well. This is the Rue Quilt Coat by Spaghetti Western Sewing Company. So again, the collar is just basted on, but this is my cutie. So the lining is kind of like a brushed cotton, so it feels pretty kind of like flannel, but lighter. And then I have this cute collar. All of the outer is Cairo linen, but the batting is wool, a single layer of wool batting. So it should be cozy. So a couple of things that I need to decide are buttons, which I do have some that I brought over here from Who Gives a Scrap, the crafting thrift store in Colorado Springs. And So I thought these buttons were an option. There's an option for ties. There's, you could leave it open. So it does have a cute split hem. So it's kind of like putting on your favorite flannel. I wanted it to kind of look like Orvis colorways. And so at first the ruffle collar which is not added, just the collar is added, but I added a ruffle. I wasn't sure, but now I kind of like the ruffle. So I do need to hem. I'm going to cut this portion off the sleeve because they're a little long and put bias binding on here. But all of the bias binding was made also with the Cairo linen. I keep wanting to say Essex linen. But I'm pretty excited about it. Again, it is supposed to be like a quilt coat. So I did the quilting of the fabric. I actually just cut it in kind of like rectangles bigger than the pattern pieces and then quilted them. So then I could cut them. But pretty excited about it. I did tape it out so that I could do the quilts as straight as possible, but also try not to stress too much. I also did use like fusible spray because I'm terrible at putting the sandwich together, the quilt sandwiches. So I did use that quilting spray. I don't know if it's called basting spray, but I'll link what I have below, and it helps me keep it pretty flat. I do assume that as soon as I wash it, it'll get kind of more of that crinkly look, but I like it. So the insides, I didn't do the bias binding here yet, but all the finishes are bound so that it's it could potentially be reversible, but I am planning to just wear it with the green side out. All right, so I think that's it for now. I feel like that was a ton, and hopefully you enjoyed. And I'd love to hear what you guys are up to. I would love to know what you're knitting, if you're a sewist, if you're enjoying the fall weather and taking walks. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day and October.